We're misfits, weird, bizarre, strange, ignored, and sorrowful at times. We were bullied, abandoned, beaten, assaulted, destroyed, and wounded to our core. We are survivors, here to stay, despite what they say. Kicking life in the teeth and choosing it every day. Diva Daily Living encompasses a myriad of human engagements of life. Our topics have no limits. We do demand providing a safe space to hold for all survivors and lovers needing healing, support, and comfort. We're here to remind you that you matter and you can choose life today. I am literally not here for me. My Creator put me here for you. Diva Dory. Hello, lovers! Welcome to Ruminations with God. This is our third season of getting to take a journey in a spiritual life and a path with God. And we get to welcome Devo Michelangelo to the show. Say hello.
Hello, how are you? Good to see you again.
Oh, it's always good to see you, brother. I could never ever get tired of seeing you.
I hear that a lot.
Well, you are easy on the eyes. There's that. Hello, the Dark Man. We already have, look, check this out. We already have someone watching, checking us out.
Oh, my buddy Darth Man.
What's up, brother? I had time to retweet and put it out there. So let's, so hopefully we will have some people to watch us.
Yeah.
Let me put our little thing on the bottom. And I already mentioned this to you, but I want to mention this to anyone who's watching. Diva Daily Living is all-inclusive. We welcome all comments and all participation from our people in our audience and our tribe. We don't exclude anyone. We are here for you, whoever you may be. And so definitely feel free, as the bottom ticker thing says, to make a comment, to question, throw something at me and Michelangelo, because I'm fairly certain that both he and I can navigate just about anything they would try to throw at us.
We kind of see things the same.
A little bit. You are as close to my twin as that's such great timing for what we are even embarking on. Is you are really truly like a twin flame soul. My female twin, I swear, is Chelsea Handler. And you can probably imagine why. Okay, so real quick, for everyone who's watching, the topic of our show tonight is called Without Fear of Judgment or Repercussion. And so we're going to dive into this a little bit, and, we'll see what happens, right?
All right, your mic's doing that fuzzy thing again, but it could be on my end.
The last time that happened, we lost you. So hopefully my headphones are on, my mic, everything, my computer, everything. I don't have anything that would make it seem like that's.
I can understand you. It just sounds a little scratchy.
Huh. That is so crazy. I wonder what it sounds like online. Hold on.
Almost like a sound effect. Is it happening on mine too?
Hold on.
Scratchy.
Huh. That is so crazy. I wonder what it sounds like online. Okay. So maybe I have a feeling it might be your phone because I'm crystal clear online. Because I have Twitter running.
Hold on a minute. Just 1 second.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna try something here real quick.
I'm like, let me make sure my camera's. Yep, the camera's fine. What is he doing?
I'm trying to see if. Hold on. Improvisation is the key.
Improvisation.
Is that better? No.
Oh, you're fine for me. Like I hear you.
So weird.
I do like you up close more. I do like that. So, okay. You take a like.
Okay.
Welcome to our people. We have 3 people watching. Woohoo! Give us a comment. Throw us up a question. Okay, so let's jump in this. We're going to run out of, we're not going to run out of time. Okay, without fear of judgment or repercussion. So Michelangelo, before I dive into what I'm going to throw at you, what do you say to that? Like, just looking at the topic, any words that you want to just throw? Like, what do you think? I mean, I have a plan of where we're going, but I want to hear what you got.
Repercussions and what?
Without fear.
Without fear.
Now, this is in terms of personal relationships, okay? So let's say I'm going to come talk to you about something. What does it mean to you to have a conversation with someone and have that conversation with them without fear or repercussion from what you may say?
You have to have ultimate trust with that person, I believe, to be able to have them enter that safe space that you have, that you cherish. There are very, very few people that are in that circle, in my circle anyway. This past year, a lot of them dropped out, unfortunately.
So, as you know, we're gonna this leads us into talking about a conscious relationship is a romantic I think it's supposed to say in which both partners feel committed to a sense of purpose, and that purpose is growth. Or I'm sorry, that's what the definition of a conscious relationship is. That's what we're looking at here. And why I threw that up there is because you hit the net, like the word trust. The phone is like boom, without even like knowing what I have queued to show you. You went straight to trust, right? So what makes you feel truly safe with your partner? And this is for anyone who's sitting out there in the audience. This is for me and Michelangelo. So right now, while this is on the screen, this is the topic of conversation for us. Hi, Tiger Butterfly. Tiger Butterfly says hello. So for those lovers watching, for those people watching right now, this is our question. Michelangelo and I, we're going to both answer this, and then we're going to encourage anyone watching to answer this as well. So what makes you feel truly safe with your partner, Michelangelo? You go first.
It would be the ability to come to that person without fear of judgment, without fear of whatever it is that you have to say. Is that going to? Yeah, can you say that? Can you say what you're going to say without fear of the judgment of being?
What would be an example of judgment? Do you have something in mind that you can think of? Like they judged you for something you had to tell someone?
When you're trying to convey what it is you're trying. This is hard. So when you go to, I guess it could be on any topic, any subject, or what you're discussing.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's. Are you able to come to that person, speak to them without reservation, to know that whatever you say, that person's going to process it without reaction, without emotion.
Yeah,
and I mean, without reaction, without emotion, like getting emotional, losing your shit, and that type of thing. Being able to process it, take it in, listen to it, and take it for what it is, and then respond to it in a rational manner, in a logical, rational manner. Without, it's hard sometimes because sometimes you get information that is very emotional, very hard to the core.
Yeah.
So, but having that trust with somebody, being able to go to that person and be able to open up completely.
Well, and I'm sorry to interrupt you. I want to make sure you see this because Wanda may have left or she may have to leave. And she wanted to say she loves you, but she can't stay. Do you see that on the screen? Can you see what I'm putting up there?
Yeah, I can't stay, but okay, yeah. Yeah, Wanda's another one of my close ones that She's in my inner circle of people that I trust.
Nice. Isn't it really nice when our tribe or our close inner people, or even just people in general, when they show up for us?
Oh yeah. It's so, like, that's gold. That's gold to me.
Right? Well, because I wanted to lead. I wanted you to see that, to lead into my answer to this question about what makes me feel truly safe with a partner. I will never feel safe with a partner if the partner doesn't show up for me, right? Emotionally, physically. I am the first person, guilty as charged, that will raise my hand and tell you I can't be ignored. No, I'm not going to come to your house and boil a fucking bunny like that movie. Okay. But ignoring me is a surefire way to make sure you never see me naked. You never hear anything personal from me. Not going to happen. You know? I have had to make adjustments in some of my relationships, like you and I, for example. We don't follow each other. Well, okay, we follow each other on almost everything. Right. But the only true place our relationship exists, social media wise, is Twitter.
Yeah.
And I know this of you. And that's something I've had to learn. Now, you and I in real life, we are in real life friends, for anyone who's watching. So that's a little different too.
You've seen me in some of my dark.
You've seen me more naked than someone probably has seen me without clothes.
True. That is true.
Right? Like, I mean, metaphorically, emotionally, and in terms of emotional vulnerability.
Even our relationship as friends, you know, we've seen each other, we've helped each other through some of our darkest times. I mean, that to me is value. Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, 100%. And get this, and I can't speak for you, but I can definitely speak for me. I've never ever come to you with whatever I might have been going through and had any fear of what, you know, like our topic talks about. I've never once felt a fear of being judged by you, or a fear that there was somehow going to be a repercussion by telling you something.
Yeah, no, it's
never happened.
Yeah, and you know me, I'm one of those friends that has very tight lips.
That's a good.
And that to me, people like that to me are truly special, because there are very few people that have tight lips anymore. That you can go in confidence and share something with people, and you know it's going to stay in that room.
Right.
You're one of the few people that I truly trust like that.
I've had my confidence violated enough times to know that would be one of the most implorable, just cruel things to do to someone, you know,
it's dishonorable
in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
So the next item on our list, on our topic list, that we're going to transition from that question, is transparency. When you're transparent, you invite trust by revealing that you have nothing to hide. And similar to, you know, this, it's interesting how what we're talking about is leading us into the next topic, because you and I were both just talking about trusting someone to keep our confidence. However, by the same token, if someone's not transparent and they're super secretive, this can be a conflict. This could be a misperception. Someone could think we're not the kind of person that can keep a confidence because maybe we, you know, because I don't know about you. I can't be blackmailed.
No.
Okay. Do I tell everybody everything? Fuck no. I'm going to own what I need to own. That's just what I'm going to do. Am I going to think it's your business? Nah. I can say it's none of your business today. I love that. I don't try to always run around saying it that way when someone asks something too personal, but I'm not afraid to say it anymore. I used to be afraid to say that.
I like the phrase, that's privileged information.
Right? And this goes to what this says here. You establish yourself as an honest, credible person in the eyes of the others. And so This is more of a statement as opposed to a question or query for you or for our audience. But basically, it goes to what you were saying about being honorable, being that credible person, right?
Right.
I mean, because I don't know about you, but what to you, what's going to tell you or give you a clue that someone's transparent or that they lean towards the transparent way of life? Can you think of anything?
Well, I mean, trying to keep my phone straight.
We're going to need to get you like a little tripod selfie stick thing.
I know, right? Well, I was going to do the laptop and that it started glitching, so I said, screw it. Transparency. Yeah, I mean, why am I having trouble with this?
I don't know.
Here's an example. And I've seen this on Twitter a couple times is I've heard this question posed. Are you the same as you are on your account, on your profile? Are you the same in real life? Okay, that kind of touches on transparency, I guess. Because some people put up a false air, or they won't have a profile pic, or there's very little personal, connection there. Mine, I'm an open book.
Right.
I'm pretty much who I am on Twitter, with the exception of, well, there's not much.
I was gonna say, you're holding back?
No, not really. I mean, sometimes.
I'm like, I might have to be upset. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, we lost him. Well, well, hello. Please don't go anywhere. I love what he was talking about. I don't know how long it's going to take him to come back, but anyone who follows me can appreciate why that would be a great. Yay! Whoa! Michelangelo just got booted out of here.
Sorry, Michelangelo, I took over.
Here he is. Okay, so
sorry, I don't know.
Oh my God!
I don't know what happened. I think I hit the back button on accident.
You know what? This is my dream stream right now. I've got a gorgeous man on both sides of me.
Thank you.
Michelangelo, meet Joshua. Joshua, meet Michelangelo.
Josh, how are you?
I'm all right. My interview got cut short tonight because of just technical issues.
And Michelangelo just got booted out of twice tonight.
It could be StreamYard being evil.
It happens.
It happens.
Yeah.
So we're gonna pick up. Okay, so you were mid-sentence when you got cut off there, Michelangelo. You were talking about the difference, and I think Joshua can totally. He's so smart, by the way, Michelangelo, that he's gonna get right on this. Okay. The question, or what Michelangelo had been asked, Joshua, he was been asked about whether or not his persona on Twitter was the same as in person, because we were talking about this topic of transparency. So do you want to finish what you were saying there, Michelangelo?
Oh, I was pretty much just rambling. I think at that point is that I mean it is who I am. I mean, it's hard to pretend. I mean. That's another thing about transparency is that the truth is easier to remember. When you're constantly having to, you like that one? Yeah. When you're constantly having to remember what you told this person or this person or this person or this person or this person, it gets hard. That's hard work. I used to be like that when I was in my wilder days, where I would just bullshit people, and it came back, and it always circles back and gets you in the ass because you can't remember which lie you told to which person. And I have found through my experiences that it's easier to remember the truth, and
you want to jump in there, Joshua, for a second?
Well, actually, even if you invert it the other way, it's far less sinful to forget the truth either. Because if you tell the truth, and you forget about it, it's okay. No one's going to really hold that against you. Tell a lie and you forget the lie you've told, that one always comes back to bite you in the ass. The truth rarely, if you tell the truth and you're authentic about it, it does bite you in the ass sometimes, but usually it's more up front. It's more up front. It's never usually in the on the back end. Whereas a lie, you don't get it on the front end so much, but on the back end, it's almost like it comes back with interest. Whereas if you forget the truth, it's okay. Chances are everybody else did it too. So it's no, like, as you say, it's too much like work. This is me. I don't really know how to be any other way, and I have found it has saved me so much trouble.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, I want to hop in here to what you just said, Joshua, because that is the whole point of this topic that we're even talking about, because pour it out from the heart and be true. Wait, hold on real quick. Darth Man says, pour it from the heart and be true. And I'm not sure. I'm not 100. Okay, 1,017%. But in terms of what Joshua said about the truth, but could potentially bite you in the like when it's actually being stated, that's where this comes in, this topic, because I just recently had this happen to me. I shared something true with a romantic partner, and suffered judgment and repercussions of it. And it was the truth. It was the truth. And that's kind of the point of personal relationships, conscious relationships between two people. I should not have to feel like telling someone the truth is going to make me unsafe. So then that's going to lead us into this next portion of our discussion, is basically the difference between what's called processing as opposed to confrontation. So can anyone want to raise their hand and take a stab at the difference between processing something with your partner as opposed to confrontation with your partner? Who wants to go first?
Okay.
I've never done this before. It's my first live ever. So I'll give you a story, like something I did very wrong back in my younger days.
Okay.
I was stupid on mine with this one particular person I was going to work with. She was cute and I was dumb. Yeah, but I made her very uncomfortable. And years later, especially since I've become a very different person, she confronted me with this truth, and I did not handle it well because I wasn't expecting it. It kind of came out of nowhere. And instead of having, and the natural inclination is when you realize that you hurt somebody, you didn't mean it the way it did. Well, well, we can talk about that, Darth Man. Life's unfair. That's my counter argument to that. But when it came back and it hit, it took me. I did not register it in the moment. Like it was just the idea of me doing this much damage to a person. I didn't believe it. There was a part of me that just did not want to believe it. And later, after someone else yelled at me, I respected it. But also just after I had some time to actually process it, I could see it. I was a different person like now than then, but it doesn't matter. I still did that back in the day. And I had to, again, that moment but in that moment when I was confronted with it, I wasn't ready to hear it. Right? And because I wasn't ready.
Do you think that it was you weren't really okay, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong, but do you think it was more of, it's not that you were confronted with it. She said what she said. Your reaction was what made it a confrontation.
Absolutely. But again, okay. but the thing about that was, right, I'm focusing on the processing part of this equation, right?
Yeah, and the only reason I asked for that clarification was because defensive response. I have all this cued.
I see that.
This is the classic response of anyone who doesn't know how to process one of those things. Because I'm still even today with extensive. And I'm going to let you go next, Michelangelo, I promise. With extensive, with extensive work spiritually on processing conversation, communicating, processing. As much as I've had, I still get this. I still get tripped up by defensive response.
You're only human, Dory.
Defensive response and irrational response. Those two will always get me. So before I go on to the next bullet point, were you done, Joshua?
I'm done for now. I'll let Michelangelo take over. I mean, Lord knows I crashed hard.
I just want to let us all have room to talk. And I did. Oh, and as of course, you missed this part, Joshua, but our audience is encouraged to participate, and that's one of the reasons why I throw the comments up. So Dartman, yes, 100% agree. Karma. This is my own quote. Karma is the bitch God uses when he is busy.
I like that.
So I'm just saying.
I love it.
I'm just saying, you can be you. You do you, boo. Because y'all know, like, I know if you follow my stand-up, you do you, boo. You might be an asshole, but you're, whatever. At least fucking own being an asshole.
Right?
Right? Okay, so let's go back to the other. Let's go back to your response to this one about the difference between processing versus confrontation.
Well, for the way I understand it is processing is, when you are having a conversation, someone says something that isn't settling to you or doesn't agree with you, you're either going to pause and take it in and listen, or process it. And is this what they're saying? Is this true? Does it resonate with what is true in my heart, in my belief, or whatever? If it's not,
right?
Do I react emotionally to this person, or do I take my reasoning and process it in my brain? And sometimes it takes a while to do this without reacting. Reacting is when you get that confrontation, when you react from an emotional point, because of whatever it is you heard that triggered something in your brain that caused, a resurfacing of some kind of past trauma. It goes in that deep sometimes. Now, whether you react emotionally or whether you react with some serenity or some calmness that is not reactionary, is not confrontational.
Right.
That's my take on it.
Well, yeah, it's perfectly said. It's one of the leading things that's going to take us to be able to process with our partners. And when we talk about partners, it's not just about lovers or romantic people. We're talking about anyone in our life.
Well, yeah, interactions with
anyone, employers.
Yeah, your interactions with everyday. It goes deeper. I mean, even with your partners, your lovers,
Yeah. Well, and I will say this to both of you, and I haven't known Joshua anywhere near as long as I've known you, Michelangelo, but I have a suspicion. I know this to be true for Michelangelo, but I have a suspicion that I could probably react with Joshua and still be able to have a conversation to keep our friendship alive.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I haven't known him that long, but I'm fairly certain that that's possible. I know it. I know it's possible of Michelangelo, because we don't need to talk about how many times I have bit that man's head off.
So, one thing I want to add to what Michelangelo said. Sometimes what you hear is actually the truth. But you're not ready for it. Right? And it hits you, when it hits you, there's a tendency to be in denial about it. And that's also a very normal response, because sometimes you're just not ready to hear what's heard. But sometimes you need to hear it, and sometimes you need to have that process through you. And unfortunately, sometimes that can take a long time for that to really sink in, though. It really depends on the person and what needs to be said, though. That's a very, very much a case-by-case basis there.
Well, and denial is perfect. That's a perfect word, because going back, just for anyone who's watching and all of us here, we were talking about the difference between processing versus confrontation. Processing, this is the shortened version of a definition, is something that goes on or takes place, a series of progressive and interdependent steps by which an end is attained, usually implies a formal or set order of doing a thing, method of conducting affairs. And I don't know about, okay, I'm a woman. Nothing about this definition is rational or is irrational, excuse me. I already fucked that up. It's the opposite. Like, this definition goes against the grain of every walking woman on the face of the planet. Does you get what I'm getting at? Do you see my point?
I have no comment on this.
like who? What? So you're telling me I gotta have a formal set order to do it, like, so
formality it doesn't necessarily have to be like super formal. If you have a reaction that, like, basically if you have a set process, it doesn't have to be a rational one. It probably should be a rational one.
Exactly.
But it's not. It doesn't. But by that definition, doesn't actually have to be rational. Also, there is something to be said about intuition, right? Over logic in sometimes.
Ooh. Sorry. Keep going.
No, that's it. I've said everything I'm going.
Oh no, I'm gonna throw this up in a second, but real quick, so the point I was getting at, and you just perfectly said. When I read that definition, I'm like, well, no wonder processing in relationships is so much more difficult than the rest of what most humans do, confrontation, etc. So this is what we have from Michael Hogan. He says, what if all three are full of it? When people first meet, they mind manners, are more polite, show much more respect and empathy than they normally have, if any. Then after a while, true colors start to show. They don't like kids or animals, disrespect mom, fart openly, get drunk, and say racist shit, or go gay bashing, excuse me. You see where I'm going here, and I bet you one or both here are homophobic or drink too much, diss mama, and hate kids or dogs. And I can't help but picture these guys driving. I don't know what the rest of that means. I don't know who he's referring to. If he's referring to the two men on our panel or not, I have no idea. But clearly, he's in the wrong live feed.
Well, I'm just gonna say, if I ever get to the point in a relationship with somebody that I can fart openly, it's awesome. It's not actually a bad thing. That's an awesome thing. So I refer to this like teachers in the classroom. Sometimes they have that student that misbehaves all the time. And you think at first, like, what is wrong with this kid? The answer to that question, though, is like, just to put, and there's one, it's not that the kid's doing anything wrong. The kid's in a situation where he can trust that he can actually do those things in a relationship. When you start, you don't know part of it is you just don't know if you and your partner are compatible. As you get more comfortable with each other, you let your hair down more. It's just a natural part of things. It's easy when you first meet to impress somebody, but the real test of any relationship is, well, if I see you scratch your ass, am I still gonna like you? If I see you do this thing, am I still gonna like you?
Right.
Because it's not just the good things we have to put up with everybody; it's the bad things. It's not necessarily about being full of shit, right? It's not necessarily about being full of shit. It's also just the fact that, like, there are people, like, I know that if I'm completely unabashedly myself, that some people can't handle that. Some people can, and the people that I can, right? And the people that I can are the people I'll let my hair down. Like I say, if I can fart with somebody on a regular basis, that's like actually a good thing, not a bad thing. Now, you don't want to necessarily, again, there's a fine line between, letting your hair down and being a complete asshole. But I mean, there's again, the line between I trust you and I'm abusing you is always got to be kind of thought about with what's going on. But I mean, that situation there is a trust factor there. If I trust you if I trust you where I can actually let my hair down, we're probably in a good place. Probably.
Do you want to reply to what I threw up before we talk about Tiger Butterfly's comment, Michelangelo? This Michael Hogan person who clearly had an agenda.
Well, I drive a pickup truck, and I got American flag on the porch. So if he wants to go with all the stereotypes, we can go there.
Do you know that guy?
I don't know, man. I don't know. But I'm sure he's probably one of them types that likes to bash on people. I can go there if you want. I mean, that is part of my shadow. I was actually a very hateful
don't apologize,
person.
Tiger Butterfly.
What's that?
No, Tiger Butterfly was apologizing. No, you don't.
Oh,
don't
okay.
apologize, sweetheart. No.
Sorry. See,
No.
even I have a shadow sometimes.
Do not apologize. That we want your comments. So she says, "Am I the same way in real life?" Yes, but at work, but at work, and this is a very good point. I love this comment because I want to talk about this. I'm sorry, Michelangelo.
I thought we were still talking about the dude that was.
We were.
Okay.
We were. But I had this on the screen, and then I said we were going to talk about her next, but she apologized, and I'm like, don't apologize. No, we want you to comment. But I get this point of what she's saying. At work, I hold back a little, but if someone asks me something directly, I will tell them. 100% can relate to this. I work in an industry that I don't talk about my personal life. 99.9% of the time. I don't bring
It's not appropriate at work.
I'm not talking about it at work. And the same thing with like in this setting here, I'm not talking about where I work. And where I work, my day job is not something I would talk about publicly.
Right.
No. So I totally, but the point in that, why it's important for me to have put that up there and see that comment when she comment. And I'm assuming you're a she. Sorry, Tiger Butterfly. I don't know. I mean, it's an innocuous name. You might be a guy. I don't know. I don't want to give you a gender, but anyway, it's interesting about this being on your best behavior thing. And what I find interesting about it, going back to, and this was before Joshua came on, we were talking about like, how can you kind of get a sense of someone being a transparent person when you meet them? And I don't know about the two of you. I can't speak for the two of you, but I can usually figure out really quick if someone is a faker, poser type of person, as opposed to living authentically or living transparently. It's usually something I can pick up on pretty quickly. And what came to mind during this conversation, and I didn't share this before, was one of the keys, and this is just for me, one of the keys that tells me someone's real, like a real person, like real about who they're being, is humility. Like genuine humility. Not many people have it. A lot of people say they do, and they're full of shit. Humility, because here's the thing, and I don't know, you can correct me if you guys think I'm wrong. If I have to go around and tell you I'm a humble person,
yeah, exactly.
If I'm humble, is part of my.
You don't have it. Yeah, it's.
Most of us, we don't have to say what we are. Our actions, our talk, our behavior, how we, whatever, it's gonna answer that question. So, okay, so let's going back to our topics at hand. So we looked at the definition of processing. This is the definition of confrontational, meaning tending to deal with situations in an aggressive, hostile, or argumentative. And this is why the dictionary is, like, to me, it's just as important as the Bible that's next to my bed, because someone can say, I can try to say, I'm not a confrontational person. But when I think about how I may have reacted to someone, was I reacting aggressively? Was I reacting hostile? Was I argumentative? Because those are different questions. Those key my truth to a part of my truth I need to know and not be in denial when I look at the other words behind the definition of something. So when I look at this, oh yeah, I've definitely had times where I've been confrontational, based on looking at what it actually means to be confrontational. Any thoughts before we?
Well, every time I've had a confrontation, it's usually to get a reaction on me. I've been backed into a corner where I tend to try to avoid confrontations, unless they are merited, you know. But Yeah, I mean, I've had well, I mean, you've seen me at my worst, and
Have I?
oh, there was that one night in the parking lot when someone tried to question my
Wait, but was that the night the chair was thrown?
oh, the coffee cup. No, that was at the business meeting. Oh God. Oh no.
I'm like, was blood drawn? I'm just saying.
No, but a coffee cup did not survive against the wall. I had lost it one night.
I was there I think I was there.
Yeah.
What about you?
Hey, I'm human. I still have some things.
When you see this definition, do you find that maybe if you think about your interactions that maybe you've been confrontational more than you thought at some point, Joshua?
Well, so I'm going to say I try not to be hostile, right?
Right.
I could definitely see people see me as aggressive, though. All right, I could definitely see that. But again, I'm not going to say I'm humble at all. I haven't. I'm totally good with that, right? I'm totally.
I would say I'm just going to give you my objective perspective is that you're very confident.
Yeah, no, very and that's the thing. Like, it's very easy. It's very easy when again, I'm very confident. So it's very easy to come off like I want something, and I'm very blunt about it. I could come across to some people as very aggressive, though, right? It may not be the intention, but it might be the impact, right? I learned something about a few years back, right? There are three things in any kind of disagreement. There are three things: there's intentions, there's impact, and then there's interpretation.
Oh, okay.
1 and 2 cannot be argued with. My intentions might be purely noble, and really there's no way for anyone to disagree with that.
Right.
That doesn't change the fact that the impact of what I have might come across a certain way to a certain person. And then where we can have a discussion is the interpretation of those events. Right? And Tiger Butterflies, like I'm about to say, like sometimes those conversations are actually necessary.
And this one got me to what you were just saying about tone,
yeah.
or something about something you said made me think of what she's saying here about being tone deaf, because I think that sometimes our tone, like what we're saying is good, what we're saying is perfectly fine, but the tone, and I know I'm famous for this. I'm famous for this. I can be a complete sweetheart, but my tone, I can change it like that, and I can go to straight B.
but it might not be just like your tone. It also could be like the word choices, right? Sometimes like again, this is something again, I could see why people would think I'm aggressive. I'm not trying to be necessarily, but I'm just very like to the point. It's like, this is what I want, right? I'm not trying to be hostile.
I have a word for you that comes to mind as you're talking about that aggressive versus whatever, but this is definitely a word that I want to throw up here, because this is a word I would use to describe you.
Yeah, Josh. Very much.
And honestly, both of you, and I know this, I'm going to non-humbly say charged here, because when we're passionate people, passionate about who we are, passionate about the topic, passionate about our truth, in my case, passionate about my boundaries. I didn't know how to set boundaries. And then when I finally learned what my boundaries should be, I had to figure out how to fucking defend them. And I didn't know how to do that nicely. And I 100% have gotten so passionate about something I'm talking about, or what it is I'm trying to defend, or what it is I'm trying to convey, that it comes off as aggressive, or in some cases hostile. Absolutely. Me defending my boundaries and the way I've had to use language to try to do that has come off hostile. 100%. Guilty as charged.
Like I said, it goes back to what I said. Impact, intentions, interpretation. And they're very important. Like when you have a disagreement with somebody, it's the third one you can have a discussion about. The first two you can't. And that's just the way it is.
So, Michelangelo, do you have anything on that? So let me put this back up here. So we were talking about the definition of confrontational. Anything on that before we move on?
Oh, I can start a confrontation with my eyes.
Oh, I have perfected bitch face, stone face, you. Whoo! Oh, yeah. If I don't want you to think, if I want someone to think I don't like them, 100%.
Yeah. I'm naturally an empathetic person, so I can feel people's energy really easily.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can feel a mood when I walk into a room.
Same.
But yeah, I try not to be confrontational anymore. I used to be very confrontational with people. I was a very cocky person when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
I would get up in your face, and I would intentionally just to cause chaos, just to see what would happen.
Lisa says same. She says, "Me too. I got the look." That's right.
You just it's in the eyes, Today I'm a lot calmer. I'm a lot more centered in bringing harmony, Yeah.
So that's a good point. I want both of you to answer this question. What's the one thing you have to have every single day to maintain harmony inside?
Coffee.
I can't disagree with that one. I gotta have coffee and tea. I gotta have that's a good one.
So for me, it's basically some kind of zen, whether it's I'm reading or I'm playing this card game I play called Shadowverse, or just something that's not. It's my own time just to have whatever basically just a time for myself. If I have that, I'm good. If I don't have that, I've been very. One good thing about this time is I have plenty of that right now, right? But but if I don't have that, I do I do lose it because I find when I'm around people, it drains me a lot more. If otherwise, and I don't have the patience. So, but coffee's good too. I do. Hugs are great. So for me, for coffee, I have a little bit of copper and a little bit of vanilla inside my coffee.
Oh yeah, okay. Michelangelo, have you ever heard this today? Say that again, Joshua, because I have to try this. I haven't tried it yet.
So
Say it.
It's a touch of copper chloride and vanilla inside my coffee.
No, what's the first thing you're saying?
Copper chloride?
Yeah, a little bit of copper, a little bit. Not so.
I knew, I wanted you to repeat it so I'd see his look on his face.
I'll tell you why. I had a very about 5 years.
What is he talking about? Copper what?
Copper chloride, yeah. My dad's a naturopath, so about 5 years ago, the last time I was really, really sick was 5 years ago, and that's when I was first exposed to copper, from a health standpoint. Now I'm not talking large dosages, because in large dosages it's not good, but in tiny dosages it can actually do a lot of different things. And besides change the color of your hair, it can also it helps your immune system. It can actually help you be a little smarter too. In tiny dosages, in large dosages, it comes with issues. So you got to be very careful. But
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I do. I also do not copper, but I do colloidal gold and silver.
Yeah.
And that helps with your.
I knew that he would know what you were talking about.
Yeah, it boosts your immune system. It helps with clearing your pineal gland. I mean, there's a lot of benefits to it.
And I'm combining it with vanilla. So vanilla is
I'm all about the vanilla.
I think it's good. I can tell you some things, but I will tell you. This is what I will tell you about why I use it. Vanilla is one of the only few things on the planet that stimulates every part of the brain. It's actually a basis for a lot of antidepressants, a lot of GABA-based antidepressants. Use vanilla for that reason. So you take a little vanilla, you put it in your coffee, you got yourself in a very powerful antidepressant. I add a little honey, and you can actually, if you want to make it even more effective, but this is going to sound completely weird, I wouldn't do this with copper, but I mean by itself, just do vanilla and black pepper.
Right.
You combine it together, right? It's really, really, it's a very strong thing for the brain. It really, really is. So, it like I said, but I use a little vanilla, I use a little copper, put it in my coffee, add a little honey for a sweetener, and I'm ready to go.
Okay, so
It promotes a general feeling of well-being.
Yes.
I have something else I do. I wouldn't say I do it every day, but it definitely helps. I mean, I know Joshua and I haven't ever really interacted in the Diva Dory world, so it's a whole different playground over here. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, keep coming back. So okay, just to sum around and come down, and we're going to sum up because we're coming up on the hour. We're talking about, having relationships without fear of judgment or repercussion. And just to summarize what we've all talked about, the ways of having that is to learn how to process as opposed to confront, try not to be defensive, being transparent, being honest. The last part of this is, what does this mean? Because ultimately, it all leads to this with each other. Hold safe space. I can't speak for either of you. I will not feel safe with you if I can't, if what we've just all been talking about, if I can't come to you without that fear or that repercussion, I'm not going to feel safe. So what is holding, it really should say holding safe space. What does that mean to you guys? And I'll let Michelangelo go first. What does it mean to you?
To me, holding safe space?
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that, that love is unconditional, regardless of my fears or insecurities. I can go into that space knowing that I won't be judged, that my insecurities and my scars, past scars, whatever, won't be violated. That it will be handled with unconditional love. Because we've all had our history where we've had things happen that have caused us to have scars emotionally, some physically, and to be able to have that relationship where there's that space that you're able to go to and feel comfortable and know that you're not going to be traumatized more, or to have more pain. And that to me is what safe space is for me, with someone, is to be able to have that unguarded feeling. It's very rare, but
right.
It is. It's there.
The
Joshua.
So I actually going to sum up with just one word:
trust.
If you're, I mentioned this earlier with this teacher.
We talked about trust. Yep.
Yeah, the teacher. That's what a safe space is. It's a place where you're trusted that things are going to go well. We talked about the teacher, like the classroom, the teacher with the really obnoxious behavior student. That student trusts the teacher. Otherwise, the student wouldn't act up the way they did. Like I said, it was easy to be on our best behavior when we don't know each other. Right? It's when we try, right?
Cutting people out. I just wanted to throw this up because you're talking about having to cut someone out, especially family, is hard. I know you were talking about teachers, but I think family can very well be like my teachers.
Well, family and friends are especially hard because you have to cut someone out. That's because no matter what you do with that person, they're going to hurt you. They've taken away that trust, right? Yeah. And that's what it's about, right? I had a friend a few years back. He did something that hurt me, but the first, it was initially, I thought just one-off thing, and we just talked about it. And when they said they do it again, okay, now it's no longer just a one-off thing. Now it's a trust issue. And it's past, right? Because now I can't look at that and go, okay, this was an accident for a time, because now I can't say that. This was deliberate. So and once you lose that trust, what do you have? Right? And that's a very hard thing. That's why ultimately, like, being transparent is a great thing, because if you are transparent, people know that this is what you're going to get. It doesn't mean you aren't surprised every so often, because there certainly are, but you're still the same person. And as long as you're that, people can trust you.
Yeah, so before I answer my part or my take on the holding safe space thing, I wanted to throw this back up here about Tiger Lily's talking about having to cut out family functions, and there was one over the weekend that wrecked for a few days. I am definitely one of those people that I don't hang out with my family for a lot, mostly because they're not physically here. They're in other states. For me, family is my children. So in response to Tiger Butterfly, I know for me, I have cut off members of my family at different times in my life. I'm none currently. I am not at odds with any of them today, now in my life, because I live a life in recovery and have for a while, as both of you know. And I'm pretty sure I've told Joshua. And so I do have a relationship with them. But for me, holding safe space, and I said this earlier, I think it was before you were on, Joshua, I will not ever feel safe with anyone who doesn't show up in my life. I was a foster kid. I was abandoned. Both parents picked their booze and their sex and their drugs and their rock and roll over me. As far as I was concerned, humans, adults, I stopped trusting adults at 4 years old. The first time I had trauma. I don't say the specifics out loud on my live Diva broadcast. My Diva followers know what I mean or know what I'm talking about, but I don't say it because I don't want to trigger anyone right now. And I have a responsibility to survivors out there to not do that. And so 4 years old was when I learned I was human. I actually have a poem in my book about this, about how I didn't realize I was human, really, until I was 4 years old. And it was because of the pain involved with that experience. So for me, holding safe space right off the bat is going to come down to someone showing up in my life. And I mean, not just showing up, but being consistent in showing up, the consistency of their showing up. Yeah. Because I can't do the hit and run friendships. I can't do the hit and run lovers. I can't do the hit and run attention people, the ones who only want me when it's suitable for them, or they only want my attention when it's suitable to them, or it benefits them somehow. I can't do any of those kinds of relationships. And when I think about this particular topic was actually on my list of topics for this particular series anyway, but then having had the experience I had with an intimate person last week, where I went to them with the truth, and the answer I got was I don't need to go into any of the details, but it was a perfect example of how that's not being consistent as someone who I love, or someone who says they love me. If you say you love someone and they come to you, I hope and pray that today, if someone I love comes to me and tells me something, I will hold safe space for them. Am I perfect at that? Fuck no.
I don't think any of us are.
Shit. Holy shit, I'm so not. Because going back to what I've been sharing, as a foster kid with abandonment issues and attachment issues, I will overreact. I will totally overreact and get irrational, and I will leave you before you have the opportunity to leave me. I am a runner. I am 100% guilty as charged. And I think Joshua, did we talk about this? I think Joshua interviewed me on his show, and I remember telling him, Michelangelo, and I think you've heard this, is when I date someone new, one of the things I tell a new guy is, I'm a flight risk.
So
that's true.
And but my response is, you're kind of already rigging the game before it begins.
Exactly.
Right? You're rigging the game.
Why though?
Yeah. Right. And that was my response, because if you say that at the very beginning, you're creating certain expectations on both ends. But
and I'm trying not to be.
Yeah.
And that's where, so going just kind of the last, we've gone through everything I've had queued up except this one. So this is what happens. This is ultimately for us to take away from this. When we don't have transparency between in our relationships with our partners, this is what happens. This is what could happen. We shut down. We don't bring up issues. The resentment will build and we will explode, or we explode later. This was actually a list, but because it's the way StreamYard works, it comes out a paragraph. We explode later. It affects our reactions or responses to things unrelated. Now that one is the one I 100% know I still have work to do, where I think sometimes I overshare because I don't want this to happen. And I think that what happened, and again, I don't want to go into too much detail about what happened with me and my ex, but I hadn't been sharing, I hadn't been transparent, and I hadn't been open with bringing concerns I had to him, or issues or questions. And I had not been. And so when I did, we talked about that. It was recognized, and I made the commitment to bring to him whatever was going to come up. And the first time I did, finally, after making this agreement to always be honest and always be upfront with him, I got called a liar, et cetera, et cetera. And and the rest is really irrelevant. But that was why so there you go. I mean, is that my vague, being vague enough? Oh.
Well, thanks.
Any thoughts on this little point here before we move on? We're pretty much done, so we can spitball until we're out of here.
So, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I'll go ahead, Josh.
So, this is what I've learned. If you don't deal with the problem, it grows, and you can't deal with anything else. There's a YouTube song called "Stuck in a Moment You Can't Get Out of." That's basically the origin of that. Like, whatever issues you have, if you aren't willing to be honest about certain things, the top of my teeth are fake.
Right.
And the reason they're fake is I went through a very hard time in my life, and I had an opportunity to work for one of my heroes. It did not go well. It just did not go well at the very end. And when I survived my little ordeal, I dealt with a lot of the anger I had, not all of it. When I had to go fix my teeth, when I finally confronted, like, I need to take care of this. All my anger, not just from that moment, but a lot of like issues I had from that ordeal in my life came back. Things I couldn't deal with. And I had to come to terms with the fact that not only my issues with that individual, but also my own. The hardest thing about going to get my teeth fixed was it was an admittance to me that bad things happened to me that I couldn't do anything about. And it sucked. And because I had to be very honest about that, the worst feeling in the world is when things happen to you and you have no control over them. It's literally the worst feeling in the whole world. And because it's like, well, what did I do? There's got to have been something I could have done. And sometimes there's nothing you can do. And
well, you're talking about self-forgiveness.
So not just self-forgiveness. That's like a lot of things people want to, I found, is because they can't let go of the fact that these things happen. Right?
Well, what I mean by self-forgiveness is that you not only could you not control it, but you also shouldn't be taking on any of the blame for the fact that you couldn't control it. Or I know for me, like that, I had to learn how to let go of that. Not only like, okay, I couldn't control this. I couldn't, but oh my God, how many times have I sat here and went, what could I have done? What could I have done? What could I have done to prevent or to keep it from happening? That's such a waste of time.
It's wasted energy, really.
Yeah, it is, but it's a perfectly normal reaction. So the night I finally pulled the broken teeth off the top, I actually finally went the night before surgery. I cried because it was one of those things where I had to openly confront this feeling that I carried that I didn't know I had carried for so long.
Yeah.
And so I cried because it was just there. There was one I needed to, and then when it was over, I could finally let it go. And then the next day sucked for a completely different reason. Right.
I have my whole upper. I have a whole upper denture.
Yeah. No, but I mean, but.
So I relate. I can relate.
That was now I could deal with it. Mm-hmm. So when I actually did the surgery, I had let go of the feelings I had. Mm-hmm. Ironically enough, the feeling of the individual that I had the bad time with, I got my chance to deal with those demons kind of almost personally as well. It was neat how everything kind of came back full circle. But it all stems from the fact that there were things that I had carried with me for a very, very long time. And I had to learn to let them go. And a lot of it was because I never dealt with certain issues on the inside for a very long time. Now I have an issue, I just bring it out because I don't want to carry it anymore. I just recognize it for what it is. And it's like, you know what? If it's out, I don't deal with it no more.
I was gonna say
purge it out, purge it.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass it over to you, Michelangelo. But I totally agree with you, Joshua, that an experience like what you just described is exactly why I can't do that anymore. I can't do this thing where I allow things to fester and build and fester and build and fester and build. I cannot. And so I do have to forgive myself and not beat myself up for being that oversharer that I tend to be. I can tend to be super oversharing about how bugged I am or how something might be bothering me, because if I don't, it's a fucking nightmare or shit show, okay? All right, now it's all you, Michelangelo.
I've been there. I mean, from a young age, a lot of my defense mechanism was to shut down or to put up walls, put up these big, silent walls where I would just shut down. I would clam up like clam, and that it's true. It does build up that resentment, and then you end up exploding like a volcano. It's been my experience. I have got holes in the drywall that I've had to patch over the years.
I was going to say the holes are not still there.
No, that hasn't happened in like over 10 years, but
okay.
But again, you're stuck in that moment you can't get out of.
I was a very volatile person, before I had some kind of a spiritual grounding, I will call it. That helps, helps to keep you centered. But
sorry.
Although, you know what? That's not entirely true, because as we alluded to earlier about the coffee cup against the wall.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago.
That was totally justified, by the way.
Okay. So you're not even kidding. Okay. In addition to the thing I said about karma is the bitch that God uses when he's busy.
Yeah.
My other favorite is, and this is not an original. I didn't create this one. But I will straight show you the old me, so you don't fuck with the new me.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes, I look like the normal, typical, run-of-the-mill, next-door neighbor girl. I know what I look like. I have this visual, okay? Blonde, blue-eyed, whatever. Yeah. I was a Southern girl raised in Bayou Country, Louisiana, 45 minutes outside of New Orleans. I was a foster kid. I was a kid raised by Irish Catholic Cajuns who were racist and prejudiced, and the list goes on and on. Beaten, abused, all of that stuff. I learned how to fight a long time ago. And it's so funny, we were talking earlier about being an asshole, people being an asshole. And I 100% believe that the biggest assholes, the biggest ones that I come across in my life haven't had their ass fucking kicked. Not really. Because I think most of us, if we've actually been beaten physically, because I've been beaten to an inch of my life at 15 by a stepdad. That's one of my experiences. And I can tell you, a lot of when I'm nice, most of the time because I'm nice or however I'm nice, whatever plays into me being a sweet person is because of that.
It's been my experience, Dory, that some of the most kind, compassionate, caring, positive people are the ones that have had the worst experience in life.
100% agreed.
It does something to your heart that
I couldn't do it to someone else. I couldn't do that to someone else. I just can't.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, so I look at it like anything like that time in my life, it taught me how to be ruthless. And
Right.
but I don't think that's entirely
because I love what you say about ruthlessness. Go ahead.
Like you have to be a little ruthless in the world. You have to be. Look, these assholes, the asshole, the inner demons, whatever you have. Like the thing is, it's
Right.
not that they've gone away. You've mastered them because you're honest about them and you know what they're. So now they no longer control you. You have more control of them. So now you can use them as you see fit. Now, obviously, there's limits. I mean, you don't want to do something, Kara, right? And I'm just gonna say, nice to meet you too, Tiger Butterfly. But what I was saying,
Yeah, I don't know what she meant by this one, but I don't know who she was talking to. Oh,
Yeah.
wait.
Nice to meet you all. Yeah.
No, this one. You have had worse than that. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know what that one meant, but
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like you remember that feeling, and you always carry a piece of that with you.
mhm.
Now, I'm not gonna like go out of my way necessarily to be a prick, but if I feel you're walking on me, I'm gonna just be like, nah, I don't gotta cooperate. I don't have to be nice. All right, I'm going to be nice because it benefits. It's mutually beneficial. I'd rather we all get along. But if push comes to shove, I'm going to do my thing, right? And I'm honest about it. Like again, I'm honest about it. Like I have that. Like that time in my life taught me how to be ruthless, and I'm grateful for it because it allows me to be good at what I do. The flip side is I do remember this. Not going over grandma going up the escalator because I don't need to be that kind of asshole. But again, there are points when you do business, when you are in relationships, that stuff helps set your boundaries.
Mhm.
And it's a good thing to have a little bit of that in you. Right? So now it can't rule you, but it's good to have.
So we're gonna round Diva Daily. You have had worse, the beating. Oh, yeah. Do you mean worse than you? Is that what you mean? Because if that's what you mean, that don't. Comparison is the thief of all joy. And the only reason I say that, and that may not be what she means. In my mentorship with survivors of trauma or abuse or rape, assault, or what, comparison is not productive. Because many women and men, and no offense men, but men more so than women, will minimalize and trivialize sexual trauma, sexual abuse, sexual stuff, because of a lot of different reasons. And comparison leads to that. So if that's what you mean, sweetheart, I encourage you to let whatever happened to you be just what it is and not compare it to other people's traumas, because I did that for years. I would compare my trauma and I would compare my experience to others that had it worse than me, and I would trivialize mine, and it led to denial, it led to not healing, it led to not getting the help I needed, it led to not admitting that I love what Joshua was just saying about carrying a piece of what happened to us with us, because the whole thing about inner child work comes down to that. What I do today, what I allow done to me today, is the equivalent of letting that 4-year-old girl, that was me, it would be, so here's the metaphor. I'm 51. If I let a man do to me today, metaphorically or otherwise, anything like any of that, mistreatment, I'm taking a 4-year-old girl and I'm handing her to this man and saying to him he can do what he wants. That's the equivalent of what we do as adults when we allow someone to fuck with us like that. When we allow someone to pee, as one of my favorite writers, he's a poet, Joshua. I mentioned him once before, Michael Xavier, one of my favorite poets that's ever existed on the planet. He's a more romance poem guy. When it comes to boundaries, he uses he calls it the front porch fence issue. Boundaries, or because someone asked him one day, why is it that people with big hearts are the ones that get hurt the most? And Michael Xavier said, in his experience, that's not what happens. What happens is that someone with a really big, sweet heart will have someone come along that pisses on their fence, and they let them come into the yard. And then they piss in the yard, and you let them on the front porch. The point is, and it goes on, and the point is if someone's pissing at your fence and pissing on your fence, don't fucking let them in the yard. You definitely don't let them on the porch. And if they piss on your porch, you really don't let them in the fucking front door.
The next thing you know, they're pissing in your bed.
Exactly. That's the thing. Like, that's the bound. So when I work with people and I'm trying to explain what boundaries are, that's what that means.
Yeah.
The action of the pissing on the fence isn't me. I didn't do that. Like, that was a circumstance that was outside of me. That was that person being a dick or whatever. But if I see that and I know that and that happened and I allow them past it, now it's on me. Now that's me. That is me allowing that. So okay. Oh, good. I just wanted to, she says, I'm not comparing. I just wanted to make sure that you understood that I just try to be here for everyone and make sure to hold safe space if that was what you meant. But I love that analogy though. Yeah. So that, and it goes further. It's a little more involved than that. I have it saved. He had posted it in reference and reply to someone on his page, and I saved it because I couldn't, it was just amazing. It was just so perfect. So that pretty much sums up our entire topic, gentlemen. Anything, last final things that either of you want to put out there about what it would mean, like ultimately, like just a summary for you, like what you need to not have fear or judgment of repercussion in your relationships. Anything you want to sum up your
openness and trust, ultimately.
Okay.
And openness, trust, and respect. Those are the three things I can think of.
Respect. Yeah, respect. And you've said that before, like the respect thing, because that's another one for me. Say how you say the thing about respect again, Joshua.
Which one? The only respect that matters.
And Michelangelo, and I want Michelangelo to hear this. The thing where you said about when a man loses respect for a woman.
What it comes down to is like a guy has to respect a woman he's in a relationship with. If he doesn't, it won't be a relationship for very long. It'll be abuse. It will become something else. Ultimately, guy has to respect the woman he's with. Otherwise, it just will not last. And vice versa too. Like, respect is the foundation, because without respect, there's no boundaries.
Yep. I have found that to be true. And I have found that, being Diva Dory, being this sexually liberated stand-up comic, tantra goddess, spiritual guru, whatever you want to call it, respect. I have a whole other series on this, and I don't want to take up our whole night or take up a whole nother hour, but that is probably one of the biggest conflicts that I get in my personal relationships, particularly in terms of men who have approached me for dating. They will get to know me, or they will meet me as the diva and think a certain thing of me, or they will read a stand-up comedy joke, and because I go real ratchet with the shit I make fun of. I got no,
It's comedy.
It's comedy. It's stand-up comedy. And it cracks me up when someone will come at me and behave a certain way towards me because they assume that's acceptable because of the stand-up joke. Happens all the time. And I've had to learn how to mitigate that. So, okay, so you're next, Michelangelo. But Darth Man says, awesome show. Thank you all. Tiger Butterfly added, my siblings have kids. A lot of them are more trusting of me than they are of their own parents. This is why I show up. Yep. Oh man, I have so had that circumstance. I was the auntie. I had custody of my nieces for a little bit. So, okay, Michelangelo, your turn. Sum it up. Summary time.
I forgot what the question was.
We're just summing it up. We're just summing up our night.
Oh, okay.
Or you can, come up with some other crazy topic. We'll go on for we're well over the hour, so I don't even care. We got
I know.
Let's hard stop at 7:30. We got 8 minutes.
Okay.
Joshua is 3 hours ahead of us, by the way.
Oh, is he really? Are you on the East Coast?
Yeah.
He's in Canada.
That's okay. Oh man, that's all right. I have friends all over the world.
He's not just over there. He's over there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
To sum up everything, we covered quite a bit.
That's a good one.
I still like the laughter is key, Darth, for sure, man. You got to keep your sense of humor about you. That's helped me stay out of a lot of things.
That's why I write my stand-up jokes. That's why I write more stand-up when I'm sad. When my ex died at the end of April, I was a fucking mad dog. Even remember, Michelangelo, you even said man, you're on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember that? He had just died.
Oh wow.
And that's what I do. I do. I have to do that. I have to. I just have to.
Well, there's something about that emotional connection when you're that raw. You're right at the edge of the abyss, of that creative abyss where it's just raw emotion. It's just raw creation. Yeah, man. It's hard to explain. It's almost sexual.
It is.
It's that passion. It's that, like you were saying, passionate.
Very passionate.
It's funny because we use that word.
I don't think any three of us should ever be expected to be normal. Ever.
No, not at all.
Come on. We're all creators. We're all creators. We're all artists. We're all three of us, right? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you get me fired up.
It happens.
You create, don't you know?
It's that creative. It's that creative fire, man. It just
right.
It keeps you close to you close to that core, that fire.
Well, you just hit on something else about keeping relationships with people and keeping them in a place of harmony and not having this thing. Going back to this pure soul fire coming out. That's right. Because, yeah. So going back to the topic, and 100%, I believe for me, I have to be able to joke around and I have to kid around. I have to be able to make fun. I have to have, my comedy not fucking analyzed. Well, what the fuck does that mean? Or get on, or though I will tell you that when I'm unfriended over a stand-up joke, I usually am proud. Actually, I will own that one 100% when I've been blocked and yelled at or screamed at, or the church holy rollers come after Diva Dory of all people. You're a spiritual diva woman talking about God and Christianity, and I'm like, yeah.
Okay.
What's What's your fucking point?
It's all connected.
I still might give someone a blowjob for taking me to a Padres game. Oh my Kate, I'm going to share
I'm
that.
not going to judge you, Dory. I can't.
You can't. I was watching a movie last night, and it had Chelsea Handler, and she's talking to her best friend, and her best friend had just slept with one guy, but she's dating these two guys, and the girl goes, well, now you've got to go have sex with the other guy. And she goes, I can't. No, I can't do that, because they called it the sex tiebreaker, where she's going to do the sex tiebreaker. I had never seen this movie. And she goes, I can't do this. And who's the actress? Reese Witherspoon is the actress, right? And so Reese Witherspoon is telling Chelsea Handler this, and Chelsea Handler says, hey, do you think Gloria Steinem got locked away in a jail so you can act like a little bitch? I stopped the movie and I rewound and I played it and I stopped it and I rewound and I played it, because that was exactly why I'm probably going to be misconfused or whatever, misperceived and confused for the rest of my life because of that. Because I got no apologies for what I may choose to do. Part of being a survivor of sexual trauma is sexual liberation without apology. And that's a conflict that see, did you notice my tone get, whoa, she gonna wait. She went and got really serious. But it is one of the biggest misconceptions people have when they're talking to a trauma survivor of what I've survived, and then they find out, or they hear a joke, or they hear this liberated Dory that confuses them. They don't know what the fuck to do with that. They're all confused. They're like, how can you make jokes about giving a guy a BJ for going to a Padres game if you survive blah 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 blah? And I'm like, that's exactly why I'm gonna make fun of it.
Because it's my choice now.
It's my body. What I do with going back, and because earlier, because I could, when Joshua, when you were talking about things happening you have no power over, right? That is 100% why, in my world, living in my world as a survivor, I get to be in control. I get to be in control. I have the power when it comes to my choices. And it means without apology. Am I going to go around and try to hurt people and be cruel and no, of course not. Absolutely not. But am I going to explain to anybody, as the Salt and Pepper song says, why I might have had some guy over last night? No, because it's none of your business. What is this song? You know the song? It's none of your business.
None of your business.
Well, there's another reason why you put so much jokes behind it, though, too. There's actually a very human reason. The easiest way, one of the most powerful ways to dispel fear is with laughter. You can laugh at something, it's not so scary.
Right? So true. 100%. And you know, comedy, laughter, and we're like definitely gonna need
to wrap this up.
Wrap this up. Okay, so Darth says tapping into it is a pure gift. I'm gonna say you're welcome, because I am the very egotistical stand-up comic that knows that she's funny, and oh, you fucking bet I tap into. I have a pure gift when it comes to comedy. I got banned from Facebook. I got an entire Facebook page stripped from existence. Okay.
That's a badge of honor.
I'm just saying that people, you can say you're funny. You can say you're funny, but did Facebook strip your page from existence?
That's right.
You must be doing something right, Dory.
Or you can say you're a romantic poet, or you can say you're a romantic person, but has your spoken word poetry video gotten you banned from Facebook for being too sexually explicit? I don't know.
Okay.
All right, so I'm done. I'm done, you guys. Anything else? Because if not, so basically what we do, I go back to and I play the video that you guys. Joshua wasn't here for it, but I play the video on our exit out. You're more than welcome to sit right where you are and be here when I am back and done. But while the video is playing, like right at the end, I will hit end broadcast so that when we do, if you do stick around and you stay in the studio, we won't be online live. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So to anyone watching, let's see who we've got real quick before we go. Tiger Butterfly said, Darthman told me to watch this. That's rad. Thank you so much.
Nice.
Darthman says LMAFO, badge of honor for sure. Yeah, if you don't know who Doris Jones Labors of Love is, you might want to go follow me. Although my stand-up name is the Amazon Beauty.
The Amazon Beauty.
But you won't find the Amazon Beauty on Facebook because that was the one that they stripped from existence because they claimed that I was pretending I was not the Amazon Beauty. And I'm like, I've been the Amazon Beauty since 10th fucking grade, and I've had that stage name attached to my email, the same exact email, for 15 fucking years.
Well, you've always been the Amazon Beauty since I've known you. So
exactly. There's people that know me and have met me now that they go, what? And and then there's people like you, Michelangelo, that have known my ex, the one that died. He knew me as the Amazon Beauty before he ever met any other part of my world. He was another Twitter person. He was a comic. He 100%. I don't think he ever did stand-up comedy. 100% would totally call him a comic. And then Tiger Butterfly, some laughs. So yeah, so I am so appreciative of you both. Namaste, and thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. You're always going to find a safe space with me. If the two of you ever need it, that will always be true. Darth said that is awesome. And so, yeah, I'm going to hit play on this video, and then, I will not be offended if you sign out of the studio while
I'll probably stick around.
Okay.
We're misfits, weird, bizarre, strange, ignored, and sorrowful at times. We were bullied, abandoned, beaten, assaulted, destroyed, and wounded to our core. We are survivors, here to stay, despite what they say. Kicking life in the teeth and choosing it every day. Diva Daily Living encompasses a myriad of human engagements of life. Our topics have no limits. We do demand providing a safe space to hold for all survivors and lovers needing healing, support, and comfort. We're here to remind you that you matter and you can choose life today. I am literally not here for me. My creator put me here for you. Diva Dory.